Hi.
I
You
love
raised
how
my,
I love how we both have like the same little hairdo
we're
today.
matching.
We are
You raised my
matching.
volume. I raised my volume. I'm not doing,
Yay!
I'm not doing an earpiece today. I think last time, I don't know. I've been doing so many IG lives. I can't remember, but I used one earpiece and it started messing up. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go without it. So,
Oh yeah, I just do this because I've got the AC on because it is like officially too hot now in general
yeah,
to not have it on. So it just sounds better on my end, and I can hear you a little bit better too. So,
awesome. Yeah, I need to get some of those pod thingies. Um,
oh well, hey, my husband works for Apple. He can hook you up. So
okay,
let's text
I'll
about
text
that.
you. I'll text you. I'll text
Yeah,
you.
okay, great. I would say that they are awesome. You definitely need to get the AirPod Pro because they have the noise canceling. It's amazing. So it's
Okay.
like worth the money. It's awesome. It's awesome. Anyway, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us. I saw that one person, we were DMing back and forth yesterday, and she's like, "Are you having Christine on?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Great! I found Christine on YouTube, and I've been like consuming now all of her stuff, and she's amazing." And I was like, "That's awesome!" So you have
I
people
love it.
finding you in other places, not just
Yes.
Instagram and stuff. So, and the
Awesome.
original Taji, is that how she says
Yeah.
her name?
Oh, hi, Kashi.
She
Yes.
just came to say hi to
Yes.
Christine. Hi, Christine. You look amazing.
Hey,
Doesn't she,
Karen.
though? She looks amazing. All right. So for those people who are watching now and potentially in the future, if they see Miss Shireen, that was her. Yeah. So I'm so excited she's here. Um,
Yay. Hey.
so for people who don't know who you are and what you do and all the amazingness that is Christine, can you just tell them a little bit about you and like your story and your process and what you're doing?
Yes. And thank you for having me back. I love chatting with you. Our time always goes like this. I'm
I
like,
know, right?
we're going to get into it today. But for those of you who don't know me, hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I am Christine Horn. I'm an actress and a life and career coach for actors. I'm the founder of Hollywood Bound Actors. It's an amazing online community for actors from around the world who desire to work in film and television. I'm also the creator of Book More TV, which I consider the #1 course for actors who want to work in television. Um, I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx, New York, by way of Jamaican and Bermudian ancestry, and grew up in New York. I was always into the arts. Started in theater, like a lot of you. And in 1992, my mom decided to move us all to Georgia, well, what we called just the South back then.
Yeah.
But that's where my life really changed. She made sure we moved near a performing arts high school called Tri-Cities High School in East Point, Georgia. And that's where I met my mentor, Freddie Hendricks, and lifelong friends, and started performing professionally when I was 16 in theater. Got my big break when I booked The Lion King in 2006 and toured with The Lion King for about 5 years. I did about 5 companies, got my Broadway debut in 2008. But I always knew I wanted to do film and TV, and I worked toward that. And so that's what I do now. I still love theater. There's nothing like it, but I love television. I love film, and TV has become this type of a game for me, Melissa. And
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
enjoy being in it as an actor and as an artist, and I love teaching it because um, making the transition from theater to film and TV was challenging, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And I remember just not working and not understanding why and not knowing what I'm like, I have talent, what am I doing wrong? So being able to figure that out, I pride myself now on being the coach I wish I had back then. So here I am.
Mm. And your coaching is so good. Not only are you like one of the most talented actresses I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I
Oh,
tell you
thank
this story every time we see each other, but I remember really kind of seeing you for the first time on Timeless, where you got to play Harriet Tubman. And I
yes.
remember watching your scenes, and I didn't know you at the time. And I was like, this chick is amazing. Like, she is so good. And it was like your performance was so depthy and nuanced and not like typical. And it was just so beautiful. And
Thank
then I
you.
got to meet you through my friend Kina.
I
I'm
know, I
like
love
now best friends with
Tina.
Kina. And I'm so glad that you are doing the work that you're doing with the people you know, with actors. I feel like there is such a swath of talent in our country, especially not just here in LA, but in New York, in the South, you know, in the Northeast, whatever. And I just love how you are able to demystify what it means to really work in TV and help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all about that demystification. Because I just think, you know, people think that being a series regular or like being on a TV show is like the pinnacle. And I like that you are able to help coach people there. But part of your coaching it's not just about, for you, the craft. I feel like you're all about the mindset, and you're about teaching people what it actually means to work in this long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Because that was where the big shift happened for me. I have a book out. If you don't have it, it's called Playing Small. You can get it on Amazon or Audible. But that is like a love letter to myself and to the actors that I've met, because that is where the shift happens in our mindset. And I always say it's not the sexy answer, but it is the truth. And, you know, there are so many of us actors trying to figure it out along the way. And it's like, what if each time you figured something out, you called your friend and told your friend what you figured out? Like, that's how I operate. And I know if I share this secret with you, but not even a secret, it's made to feel like a secret, right? What those actors doing that I'm not doing? Like, I just wanted to take that away, because I just know what's for me is for me, right? What's for me can't miss me. Hey, Farrah, thank you. And so so it's the same thing, like when you eat at a good restaurant, like, oh my God, Melissa, did you try
Right? Did you try this? It's
at
amazing. Yeah.
Like, you have to have it. Like, it's that's how I feel. Like, I'm like, guys, I just worked on my first Disney show. Let me tell you what I learned. And like, that's how I treat it. One of my students who took my Book More TV class in January, she gave an awesome testimonial. Shout out to Andrea. And she said, it feels like Christine is just giving us her notes. You know, when you're in school, someone just gives you their notes to pass the test.
That's a great analogy. Oh my gosh.
And I was like, yeah. And because I think once we take the mystery out of it, and I love that you mentioned, back in the day, before I booked any television, it was, when I book a guest star, it's a wrap. I could quit my job.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, it was all, we make up what it means, because we don't know. No one's talking about the money. No one's telling you that, that character may be a recurring guest star, but they may only be working a one-day guest star per episode. So they really may only be making, if they're making scale, they may only make $2,000, $3,000. You know what I mean? Like, you can't quit your job with $3,000. You know?
It's
so
only, it's only.
Right. And especially not living in LA. So it's that, keeping it real. And I never like to appear to be a negative Nancy. And shout out to Farrah, who's one of my alumni in this chat here. I just want you to just know, so that you don't have the bubble burst thinking, okay, I've made it, now I can stop. It's like I always say, the grind doesn't stop, it just changes. And as long as you're prepared for this journey, like, I think it won't affect you so much, because God, all we have is our minds, and everything going on in the world, and just dealing in this industry is already tough enough as it is. So I wish someone would just tell me, hey, you know what? One thing will lead to the next. Just keep working, just keep growing.
Yeah. One of the things that I learned, so I have a coach. She's like a sort of like business/health coach. She's awesome. And one of the things I've learned with working with her, and I bet that your people have learned this from you, is that life is going to be 50-50. It's like 50 great, like I'm happy, and 50 this is a challenge. And if you can kind of go into everything knowing that, then when the challenges and stuff happen, you're like, oh, this is just part of the 50. Like I'm expecting this to happen, and I can deal with it because it's happening. And there's also this idea you kind of mentioned where you think that once you get to a certain level, that everything's going to be different. Right? Everything's gonna be different. Everything's gonna be better. And that's absolutely not the truth. What happens is certain things will absolutely get better, but then you're gonna have a new set of challenges that you're gonna have to learn from. A great way she puts it is, she's like, you know, right now you're renting an apartment, but you know, you think that when you buy a house, everything's gonna get better, and then you buy the house, and then it's time to buy the house, and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to worry about, like, you know, putting applications in, and, you know, finding a realtor and all this stuff. And so everything in your career as an actor isn't just going to magically be fixed when you are a series regular. right?
Right, right. You know,
So,
I had a consult with a young lady last week, and she was new, so no shade to her. But I remember she asked about my program, and then she said, "Was there anything else we're gonna have to buy, like books or something?" And
I
I
had
was
to laugh.
like,
I know that's like, yes, darling, there
I said,
is a lot of things
honey,
you're gonna have to buy. Yeah,
you're gonna be swiping that credit card for years and years to come. We
yeah.
always need new headshots, new classes, new this. You were always investing in ourselves, but we are our best investments.
Yes, yes,
We
yes,
are. Funny
yes.
story, and I've never shared this, but I feel, you know, we cool, we comfortable. When I was leaving Lion King, you know, I had saved up a chunk of money, and I was like, I'm getting teeth. I'm gonna buy some teeth. My teeth were fine. I had a
Ooh.
gap in the middle. Wasn't a huge gap.
I
And if
love
you think
gaps, by
about
the way.
it was,
I'm such a fan of gaps.
and most
Yeah,
people say, I
yeah,
love gaps. And again, I didn't hate my teeth. I was just like, I want a Hollywood smile. I just want to smile and people like say, wow.
yeah.
And I did that. I invested. I always joke. I say, I got a Toyota in my mouth. That's what I tell people. These Lumineers, they're not veneers, but they're Lumineers. And
Yeah.
and when I remember one of my cousins, shout out to my cousin Melissa, she's like, I can't believe you spent that much money on your teeth. Why would you do that? I said,
Because
because
it's
I'm my
important to
best in
me.
best. And
Yeah,
I said, I am my product and I'm the best thing I can invest in. And when I
yeah,
tell you I paid for these teeth 10 times over, okay?
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you. I'll give you that for you. So
You know,
whatever it
some,
is though,
yeah,
whatever it is, because it impacts your confidence and how you show up. For some of my sisters, especially how our hair is done. You know, if
Mhm.
you want to spend $300 on that bundle of weave, if that's the look you're going for and that's your vibe, it's an investment.
Yeah,
It really is. And as long as you're happy with it and it's in alignment with what you want, then I say go for it.
yeah. My assistant Jacqueline's on here. Shout out to Jacqueline. Hi, girl. She says she has luminaires too. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out because I'm not gonna lie. Like I've had braces, I've had Invisalign, and my mouth is just so tight and crowded. Like I
Yeah.
have a fine smile. Let me tell you a story that you'll get a kick out of. The probably one of the moments that I realized I now live in Los Angeles and I'm part of this culture is
I'm
when I
ready.
went is when I went to my dentist, and he's a shout out to the tender dentist. He's really sweet. And the first time I went to him, two things kind of set me like, oh my God, this is such an LA moment. One, I started talking to him about, I was like, yeah, and I'm kind of interested in, you know, maybe doing some veneers or something, you know, I just, whatever. He's like, or you could just accept and be okay with your smile as it is. I mean, it was like the most transcendent, like he was like trying to give me like, like thought
He's like, I'll
process.
take your money,
Hilarious. But you should be okay with your smile because it's beautiful. And then at the end of the session, they give you like a warm lavender scented towel to like wipe your mouth off with. And I was like, who is this?
you're like, come on, lavender
I
towel.
know, right? It was like essential oils towel. It was so funny.
That's so LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so LA. All right. So I know I wanted to have you on because you this week have launched the newest version of your Book More TV thing. You know, like your course. Is it a course? Is it a
Yeah.
group? What is it?
It is an online course, and it's 5 weeks. It's called Book More TV. You can visit bookmoretv.com, but it's 5 weeks with me. It's just goodness. Hashtag goodness in goodness online. You can work at your own pace, and then every week we have Q&As. And you can ask me anything. It's really great. I mean, the testimonials speak for themselves. But
Yeah.
what I would really want to share with the audience today is I'm teaching a preview class next week, 3 days
Ooh.
only, July
Okay.
13th, 15th, and 18th. So if you go to bookmorework.com or
Okay.
click the link in my bio, Book More Work. Can you remember that?
Okay.
And pick the day you want to
Girl, I
join me.
take notes while we're talking, by the way. I take notes.
Each of them will be live. So I'd rather people show up to that and really get a feel for my vibe and get a taste of what I do teach in the course. Because even if you don't join the full course, I want you to still show up and you walk away with some 3 juicy steps. And Farah, who's in this chat here, she's part of my presentation, whether she knows it or not, because she's a success story.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I'm really excited about that. I launched the course earlier this year, and it was something that was on my heart. And I was like, I want to have this one-stop shop, because it's not just about television. I touch on marketing, how to get in front of casting directors, how to keep those relationships. I start the course with mindset, because I'm like, boo, I can give you all the tips in the world, but if you talk yourself out of it, it's pointless. This is just going to be not just another. Farrah said, what? Don't worry about it, Farrah. Just don't worry about it. But, we can talk ourselves out of so much stuff, and that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today and the audience today when you asked what I want to share. And I wanted to talk about, who has the authority in your brain right now.
All right, guys, it's time to go to church with Christine. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Because, I'm a mindset, junkie, if you will. And it's been coming up a lot. And especially now as we're still in quarantine. We're still dealing with COVID. The industry is forever changed. And as I've been talking to some of my private clients, as an audition here or there pops up, there's this new mental thing that's happening now, because we've been used to not doing. And then it's making people say, do I even really want this? I'm dealing with pandemic, murder, racism, and so I'm wanting to invite you to check in to make sure the things that you're going for in life are what you really want, and that you're going for it in the way that you want. Because we can have other voices, other friends, other examples of people who are successful on Broadway, in movies, on TV, and think that must be the path. So now they have authority in your brain, and it's not you. Because if we really go inward, you may really just be happy with doing 3 short films a year. You may really just be happy doing community theater. I don't know what that is, but it's been coming up. And so I invite each and every one of us to just check in and really ask ourselves, who are we listening to? Mm-hmm. And that's just what's been coming up for me, because it's okay if you need to step back, take a break. But if you decide, no, I want this and I'm ready, then I would say, then let's go all in. Let's get it done well. That's another thing I wanted to mention, because what's also coming up is because, I did a live about an hour long last week called Are You Going to Be Rusty or Ready? Right? So
that's great.
Now that things are opening up, which are you? You're one or the other. And I'm seeing both, because it's like, even me, I got an audition. It was something juicy, and I waited to the last minute. I was like, Christine, wait, are you going to do this or not? I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I was like, well, let's do it. And then, because I'm not just going to get it done half-assed. That's what I'm always working with my clients on. Don't just get it in by the submission. Well, I got it in. No, because now that represents you and what's your standard of excellence? Only you get to set that bar. And you know when you're not meeting it. So don't just get it done well if you say you're going to show up, because your reps see it, the casting people see it, producers see it, if you're lucky, and they're going to say, oh, that's the best she or he could do, I guess, because that's what they sent in. Mm-hmm. So it's just doing a self-check-in.
Yeah, it's kind of, I talked a little bit about this topic with Benjamin Mathis, he's the founder of Crash Acting. It's like a studio here in LA. And one of the things we talked a little bit about was this idea that for some reason, even people in the entertainment business, actors specifically, there's like this sense internally that acting isn't as valid of a thing as other things, like being a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. And so therefore, they don't tend to put this level of work in, where, as if, unless they, comparing it to, say, they are studying for their LSATs or something like that, right? Or like trying to be of value in another industry. And we need to be putting in the same amount of work we would do in another job for this job, because this is equally as valid of a career choice as other things. And so you're right. Yeah. If you don't just do it well, do it to your capacity, do it to your excellence.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's that thing of how you do one thing is how you do all things.
Yeah.
Even when I had a 9-to-5 back in the day, they loved me there, even though I would leave and I'd be like, I got a job, I'm out. I got a gig, I'm out. They would keep letting me come back, because when I was present, I did an excellent job, because it's still what does Christine represent? And when you think of me, I want you to think of Christine. My friends say it all the time. Oh, if Christine's gonna do it, oh, it's gonna get done. Oh, it's gonna get done. Oh, she'll take care of it. Like, what's synonymous with your name?
Yeah.
What is being said about you when you're not in the room?
So one of the things I feel like when people are going to listen to this is what might be coming up for them is shame, because they know that they say they want to do it, but they're not doing it to the level because of fear or whatever. And so right now, for those of you guys listening, what are you feeling when Christine says this, when you're checking in with yourself and seeing what you want to be doing and how you want to be doing it? What kind of feelings are coming up for you? Please comment below. I forgot to say that at the very beginning, that this is not just a conversation between her and me, but also between you guys. We want to hear from you. Give her some hearts, by the way, because she's awesome. But
it's about it's the contrast that comes up for all of us at times.
Yeah.
It's this thing of you say you want one thing, but then you expect something else. So like you say you really want that series regular audition, right? And then when it comes up, you're expecting to fail. You're expecting for it to go wrong, and you always get what you expect.
Yeah. Woohoo! Say that again. That's really good.
You can say you want something, but when you expect the worst to happen, which is what we do as actors, oh, hope I don't mess up, hope I don't drop those lines. We use our imagination. I talk about it in my book. Instead of using it as a tool, we use it as a lethal weapon in our lives. We're using our imagination. We're just not using it for good most times. So what you want versus what you expect, you always get what you expect.
Yeah.
So it's time to change the expectation.
So if somebody, I'm sure you've dealt with this in your classes and stuff like that. Somebody said, how you do one thing is how you do all the things is a statement that's come up for me more than once this week. Well, then I feel like that's like a little sign that you should be thinking about. Yay. So for those clients and students that you've worked with who they go, you know what, Christine, you're right. I haven't been living up to my full potential in this area. And I'm a little afraid of what that looks like. I don't know how to get out of this pattern. What have been some of the tips that you've given people to help them get to this level that we want to be at, if that makes sense?
Well, first, it does make sense. And one thing I'm going to say this too. I love hard, right? I get invested with my clients. And any of you in this chat, if you work with me, you know this. Les Brown, who I love, who was my foray into personal development, always says, when you fight for your limitations, you always get to keep them. So when you come to me, I'm not going to fight you for your limitations. So if you want to do the work, we can do the work. The second thing is understanding that you're not stuck, you're stubborn. It's like, oh, I need to lose 50 pounds. Oh, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck. No, you need to eat vegetables and go run. You just don't feel like it. You're stubborn.
Yeah.
So when Tony Robbins always talks about when the pain becomes too painful, where you can no longer ignore it, that is when change happens, and not a moment sooner. So when the pain of you not having the career you want, the money in the bank that you want, but then when the pain gets to a point where you can no longer tolerate it, only then will you make a change. And I'm more than happy to help create a roadmap and a blueprint to help you get there. I do it all the time. But I have also created the blueprint and the roadmap. And then I found that sometimes I'm getting more invested than the client. And then again, I say, I can only meet you halfway. You have to do the work. I can't want it more than you. So what the question all of you should think about right now, what are you tolerating in your life right now? What are you tolerating? Tolerating bad habits? Are you tolerating people in your life you don't really want? Are you tolerating not making enough money? Are you tolerating not having the career you want? You get to decide when you realize I am tolerating that. And I'm making excuses. You know why? Because it's safe. It's safer to be like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I don't know. This isn't going to work. Than to roll up your sleeves and say, I'm going. It's uncertain. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. Uncertainty is scary as hell. Moving to another town is scary. Starting a new job is scary. Going for this acting thing is scary.
Yeah.
I had to deal with that myself when I booked roles like Harriet Tubman. And I'm like, oh, shoot, now I'm top of show guest star. How do I top that? How do I keep that momentum? How do I prove to myself that I can be better and do better? you know, and it's
Yeah.
scary. You get a script and it's mostly you. You're like, oh, shoot, I said I wanted this. Now people, if I'm not good enough, people will know. I'll be exposed. Some of you are afraid to get exposed. That's why some of you don't even get a coach or get help. When I teach Book More TV in my 5th week of my class, there's an opportunity, Melissa, for you to submit a self-tape audition to me, and I view it and audit it in real time. So I have it up on Zoom and I'm watching it in real time. I give notes and I share it in our Facebook group for everybody to see. Do you know not even a half of the class participated in that? Half because
What a waste. Oh my gosh.
some because they were busy, just didn't get to it, but some were honest and said to me, even some who did it and got the feedback, I'm like, they never wrote back that they got it. They wrote back and said, Christine, it took me a month to watch the feedback. I was that scared to see what you were going to say. Mm-hmm. Even some of my private clients, I was scared to get your feedback. We cannot be scared to get exposed to things that will help us grow and be better.
Yeah.
If you want a coach that's gonna be like, it's great, Melissa, you're doing a great job, amazing, and you still not booking, thinking like I'm spending money on a coach, but the coach is blowing smoke up your butt. I don't got time for that. Yeah. You see, I'm getting riled up. If I start sweating, I got my right here. But we just don't have time. We don't have the luxury of that. Not if it's something that you say you want. This is your dream. This is your purpose. This is what you're here to do. And it's this feeling for me. I have this feeling, Melissa, I'm in too deep. I couldn't do it. Even if I want, I'm like, I'm in too deep now. I might as well just keep going.
Well, you know, it's funny. Again, what I love so much about you is that you're helping people through, first of all, confront the fear and showing them that it's that thought of demystifying, right? Like demystifying what the process looks like, what the actual life and job and daily routine of a working actor looks like, what kind of investment is required of having this as your personal business. Like, I just love that you go through all of this stuff. And I, as a business owner, I will be very honest with you guys, like the higher up and the more work I do and the more clients we get, and like I've taken you know, the quarantine to sort of shift what we're doing and doing more of this stuff because I want to be of value and I want to be an educator in this space. But as I'm doing this, I personally am learning all the things I didn't know. And it is absolutely 1,000% scary because I don't know if any of you guys watching this are like me, but I feel like I should, and this is ridiculous, I feel like I should be good at all the things all of the time. And that if I'm learning something new, I should like already know how to do it. I should already know how to like do my books like a wizard, you know, like QuickBooks. That gives me palpitations. I should already know, like for some reason my brain just thinks that I should already know this. And so when I don't, then I make that mean something about me rather than knowing it's just a skill that can be learned and I don't have to know it right away. And it's okay if I fail at it in the beginning because everybody fails at it in the beginning. And I feel like you really give people the space to learn about the industry, learn about what they're doing. It's not just about the craft, but all the other stuff that scares people. I was in conversation with a friend, and because I'm a business owner and I've been doing like running a business now for a really long time, just like you, I just think in the business way. And so when I was talking to her about actors and acting business, she's like, you know what, Melissa, just hold on a second. And I was like, yeah. And she said, when actors hear, like actors are always told, actors, we are a business. She was like, we don't understand what that means because we went to school for acting. We didn't go to school for acting business. And when she said that to me, I was like, it had never occurred to me that nobody like thinks like I do. Like, you know? And I was like, oh, actors don't even really understand that their craft is part of the pie that is their business. And so I just really, really love that you take the time to explain that to them and to encourage them and to allow them the space again to feel their fears and work through them anyway. I think that's the definition of courage, right? It's not acting
Yeah.
without fear. It is acting with the fear anyway, bringing it on as a
Yeah.
companion.
I always tell my audience, play scared. If you go to my stories today, every Wednesday I do something called Work With Me Wednesday on my stories. This is another way I take people behind the scenes. I
Yeah.
mean, legit. This morning I was in my wig cap in the bathroom putting on makeup. Like I keep it
Love
that real with audience. And
it.
I'm not afraid to mess up publicly. Like I'd be like, oops, oh well, typo. Next time I get it. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, being that transparent helps to take the pedestal away. It helps
Yeah.
to remind you that, there's no difference between me and you except some years and some experience and some tenacity, you
Yeah.
know? And but yeah, I believe we should play scared. People say, Christine, you're so fearless. You do no, 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 I ain't fearless.
Mm-hmm.
My purpose is bigger than my fear. Period.
Oh,
So
yes.
I have to
Yes.
work through whatever comes up because there is a purpose, there is a vision. There's plenty of stuff I'm scared to do, scared to say, scared to film. And I'm like, you know what? This might help somebody else. So I'm going to get past myself, get
Mm-hmm.
past that little voice in my head telling me, no, this is stupid. Don't do it, girl. Don't do it, girl. My inner voice, her name is Veronica. I talk about her in my book. So my inner critic. So I'd be like, Veronica, sit down. Thank you. You did your job. Okay. But I'm going to still do it.
Okay, so you can feel free to say I don't really want to talk about it, but I would love to know, because I think when people think about, like, I don't know what my purpose is, how do I figure out what my purpose is, especially as an actor? What was that journey like for you? Because not only are you an actor, but you're also an educational advocate and, a community builder. And you definitely have like this very solid purpose behind you. Like I can feel it when I talk to you. But I'm guessing it wasn't always like that. What was that journey for you? How did you go from like just kind of knowing you wanted to do something into kind of what you've done now? Were there steps, were there questions that you asked yourself to kind of help
Yeah.
figure that out?
Yeah. I think the main thing I had to get past was who would care? What's the point of this?
Mm.
And I think that goes to a worthiness thing that I had to work through. I'm blessed to know that I've always wanted to perform. I've done other things that I've used to write for the school newspaper, and I was going to go to college at Columbia for print journalism. Like I've been great at things, but acting has always been my passion, and singing. I have 2 albums out. I've always been a performer, so that's never been the question. I think where it started to shift is how the impact of art, just the impact of an artist, and holding on to that. And, when we've all seen a movie that brings us to tears or inspires us to do something greater. There's too many to name, but, it's just that moment of seeing art and how it can change and how it can affect people. I wanted to be a part of that. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm always reminded of. For me, I'm going to get a little spiritual. For me, God is in each and every one of us. And I feel like God just be showing off when I be seeing like performances. Just the other night we watched Hamilton. My husband, who's don't even like musicals, was like, I'm not going to take my shot.
Chef.
Oh, I get it, though. Because it moves people and it can affect you. And sometimes it's the right word, it's the right song, it's the monologue you do. It's something that can shift people. And I've had so many out of body experiences in this craft, whether being on stage or being on set, and be like, oh my God, giving thanks. And so that when I'm having those moments of uncertainty, I just remember that feeling and the little girl I can inspire at home, the little boy who I can inspire at home. I think of those things. But in terms of how it transformed and morphed into Hollywood Bound Actors and the work that I do now, when I moved back to LA in 2017, Super Bowl Sunday 2017 is when we arrived. I just was just like vlogging, talking about my journey. And then because I'm a driven kind of chick, I was like, I'm gonna go live every day for 30 days. I have no idea what the hell I'm gonna say. If y'all go to my YouTube channel and look up Actors Daily Bread, because that's the name of my online show, and look at episode 1, honey, it was a mess. I'm like, hi, I am Christine. I don't know what I'm talking about. But there was just something, it was a word, it was a whisper. Show up, show up. And as I showed up each day to nobody, by the way, people started liking, asking questions. And it just literally morphed and grew. And I was like, wow, there's a need here. And if I'm gonna be real blunt here, there's a definite need in the Black community, because it's for artists, like, and I'll speak for myself. I would just see a lot of coaches who didn't look like me telling me that I need to spend thousands of dollars, and if I wasn't in LA, I wasn't any good. And I was like, bump that. I got my footing in Atlanta. I'm like, no, that's not true. And so we all have places where we need to see ourselves reflected. And certainly Hollywood Bound Actors is just not for actors of color, but we do have a large community there. And I'm happy about that because, again, thinking about the coach I didn't have, and now I've had the opportunity to collaborate, and I bring all types of people in, and the community grows. So I think that was a long-winded way to just say the purpose got created along the way.
Yeah. And I feel like anybody who's watching this who might be questioning their purpose about it, because like we talked about, at the beginning, we're still in quarantine, we're still dealing with the pandemic, we're still dealing with financial setbacks and emotional setbacks and all that. It can cause you to be a little bit more wary of, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I don't know who needs to hear this, who's watching now or maybe in the replay, but we need you. We need you to tell your stories. You are part of and hooked into a divine construct called storytelling that has been around since the beginning of time, right? And if you are watching this or listening to this and you need to hear that you are a valuable part of that, and it is a tradition, it's not just a job. You are meant to do this. And it is fine that you are questioning yourself. It is fine that you are having these thoughts. That just means you have a normal functioning brain, right? There's nothing wrong with you for questioning your passion and stuff, but just keep in mind that we need all sorts of storytellers. We need you to tell your story. We need you to be a part of this industry because it is shaped by you. It is shaped by all of us in consuming it. And for those of us who want to be a part of creating it, you are here and in the right place.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, everybody, each and every one of us, as Michael Bernard Beckwith would say, we are one of a kind, wonderful. You can only be imitated. You can never be duplicated. There's only one of you. And you are needed. You are worthy. You matter.
Yeah.
And if you feel, and I've been saying this on every interview I've been doing for the most part, because a lot is going on right now in the world.
Yeah.
If you need to talk to somebody, please talk to somebody. Mental health is utmost, because also acting is so spiritual. The stuff we take on, the energy we take on when we step into other people's lives and tell their truth, sometimes we don't always shake it as easy as we would like to. And then adding the state of the world and everything. If you have insurance, try to find a counselor, a therapist. If the Actors Fund has resources to so many things. I just think too, there's so much going on right now, and I don't want to skip over that because it's a lot we're processing. Our jobs is to be empathetic and to tap into so many people, and watching the news can affect you more than you're realizing. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah. And also, if you don't have insurance, I would just mention, because I have a therapist and I actually chatted with her about this. I was asking her advice for somebody else who was asking about doing therapy. If you don't have insurance, sometimes therapists will do a real sliding scale, or you can go to colleges and sit with people who are getting their degree in psychology and psychiatry because they need the practice, if you will, and so you can have a lot of times free sessions with them to do that. So there are ways of being able to get mental health help without having to necessarily pay for it if you don't have the income to do so right now. And because I completely agree with you, right? Like having a therapist, having a counselor, having a psychiatrist, that kind of thing. It's incredibly important.
Taking the stigma away from it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I feel like going to a therapist and talk, like a third party who is trained to help you with cognitive dissonance and the things that you don't even realize that are happening, is the same thing as going to the gym or like going for a walk, right? Like you do that for your body, you should be doing the same amount of things for your mind. And I think especially for actors, it's absolutely necessary because of how sensitive we are to the world and taking on those roles when we need it. So I have just so many questions that I kind of want to get to if we have time. But one of them is, in your experience so far, because you are who you are and you work with who you work with, I'm just curious to know, like, what your views are with, like, where we are going to be coming out of post-pandemic, if we ever get there. How do you think the industry has changed? Like, if we ever get there, feels like it's never going to end, but yeah.
Right now, I'm not even thinking about I think the industry has forever changed. I mean, yesterday I had my first virtual audition, which was so odd.
Like an in-person kind of Zoom situation?
Yeah. I'm used to self-taping. I'm the queen of self-tapes, but no, like waiting room, and it was I'm always on Zoom, and this was something called Blue Jeans. Have you guys used that?
No.
It's like Zoom, but meeting rooms, and there's a waiting room, and you can see the other actors waiting.
So it's like an actual experience of going there, but like sitting in your living room on your computer. Yeah. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think more than ever, I've always been preaching about having your self-tape game up and being comfortable creating your whole environment and comfortable with editing and all that stuff. But we're not going to go meet casting directors in their offices anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not happening. And I just think it's going to affect, how big casts are and non-essential characters, maybe those one-line co-stars may go away, may not have as many of those in the immediate future because that's just another extra person on set. Again, I have no official word. This is just a feeling. And I think I'm praying that as things start to open up slowly, we can just find safe ways. And I want to encourage you to never, I know it's frustrating. I know, we don't want to have our masks on at all these times. I know in LA, you can't even go in a store without a mask. I know every state is different, but one of my clients just booked a feature and he was supposed to work and he couldn't work because his COVID test hadn't come back yet, So of course, if you're positive, so sorry you booked the gig, but we have to give it to someone else. Like your health is like legit. If you can't work when the opportunities do come. So it's another level of, I really want to do this, but how's this going to impact me, my household, my finances, so I would say just stay healthy, keep your immune system up, do what you need to do, and stay sharp. That's the biggest thing I can say.
So with this audition that you did, do you feel like, I kind of feel like this is a great opportunity for people who don't live in big markets to potentially audition for things that they normally wouldn't get in the actual room for. Because you don't have to be there in the room. It's just an internet connection, right?
It is. And as long as you can get there. I mean, it's still like the thing I read for yesterday is going to shoot in LA. I mean, they give you the shoot window. So there's always that thing. I'm always warning actors who want to work in multiple markets. I'm like, slow your roll. Do you have the plane fare to pop on the plane real quick? I mean, right now the planes are cheap.
Sure,
Yeah. Some of them you have to be local, and local is just not saying I can be local, especially I know for the Southeast, because that's where I have a lot of experience too. You have to legit provide an address. Your check was going to go to that address. Your tax form is going to go to that address. So it has to be somebody you trust. There's all kinds of other things that you need to figure out to make it work. Not saying it's impossible, but something to think about.
Okay, cool. I was wondering, we live in such a large market. I was wondering for people who are in Atlanta and people who are, kind of in the South and that kind of thing, if you felt like it would be different. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Like I hadn't even thought about, you can audition, but are you willing to come in and do the job? Can you afford to do that? So
get your rent a car, your Airbnb. By the time you do that, you ain't got no check.
That's your whole check. And for some people, it's worth it for the credit, but
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It depends on what the gig is. I've done that plenty of times back in the day, especially when I was first stacking my credits.
Yeah.
This is back before self-tapes were really huge. It was a lot of driving to New Orleans for Charlotte, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I just need to build my resume, so I'm willing to do it. You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing. For those of you who are newer in the industry, SAG eligible or non-union, be willing to do whatever it takes
Yeah.
to get good footage to do the work. Worry less about how much does it pay, and is it good footage? Who's directing it? You know, all that stuff. Because that's the stuff that will help you get in the door, especially for TV. Getting that first TV credit is always the most challenging. But once one network trusts you, it'll be easier for the other ones to trust you as well.
Yeah. It also sounds like, you know, there's an energy we bring when we get to be in the room with them, right? And we can influence the energy in the room in person. But now that that in-person thing is getting taken away for a little while, I feel like outside of getting your self-tape game really solid, I feel like there needs to be some emphasis put on how can I kind of take my energy and send it through the through the camera on my computer. How you can be on your computer in that live audition version where you're hi, it's Wednesday. And it's a very
You're
busy
asking
day.
how can they feel you? How can they feel you?
Yeah, like, because, you know,
I think it's a mix of, because I'm an interesting kind of actor. When I'm showing up, I mean, if it's a commercial, it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, how's it going? How's it going? But if it's theatrical, it's, you know, I'm very much in the zone of my character at the moment. But I think trusting that, remember that something I always tell my students, the camera is a lie detector and the eyes tell no lies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you're giving, whatever you're thinking, we can see. If you're having a bad day, if you're feeling anxious, we're going to see it more than ever through this camera. And you cannot fall back on, they just like my vibe. Like, no, like, what's going on in your eyes? What's going on there? And I think another way, and I always encourage this, is because of where we are now, to do a better job at making sure you're visible online, Instagram, Twitter, making relationships. I'm always talking about spreading love. My audience knows I'm always talking about love notes. That's how I reach out to people in the world, because because they're just like us, casting, producers. They're just going to be on the Insta scroll. What was that guy's name? Oh, John Smith. And do their research there. That's how they're going to also get a feel for you by what you're putting out in the world.
Yeah. That's really, really good. I'm such a huge proponent of, yes, please do your Instagram. And for a while I was like, do TikTok. And now they might ban TikTok. So don't tag, don't just live in one place, spread it around. So having YouTube, exactly. One thing I kind of wanted to circle back to was this idea that you really help kind of demystify the business of not only how the industry works, but also how you as a business function within that larger business, right? If you just off the top of your head, and I'm basically just sidelining you with this question, but if you had three really general tips for people when they're thinking about what their acting business, what that means, what would be the top three things that you piece of advice you would give people about their acting business?
For someone who doesn't quite understand?
Yeah.
First and foremost, yes, you're a beautiful human being, but you're also in this industry. You're a solution. So keep thinking of yourself as a solution to the problem that casting has. The problem is they need, an Asian woman for this role who's between 20 and 30. And you are the solution to that problem, right? So we can call yourself solution. We can call ourselves rock song. We can call ourselves a product, whatever resonates with you better. But know that. And when you walk around saying, I'm the solution to your problem, I am the one that you need. You don't know it yet. Maybe a project hasn't even come across your table yet, but when it does, I am the solution to the problem.
So I just want to point this out. This is great because this is, I feel like, the sneaky roundabout way of setting an expectation for yourself, which is what you talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. It's about this is a good example of what expectation setting looks like. Is by shifting that and having I am the solution be a mantra of yours. That's great. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's awesome.
And because it immediately shifts the energy of please pick me up. Oh, I hope I get discovered. I hope. No, I am. It changes how you show up. I'm the solution. You don't know it yet.
You
But
don't
I'm the
know,
solution.
but you're gonna know.
Right. So that's one piece about thinking of the acting business. So now if you know you're the solution, right? How will anyone know that you're the solution? That's why we have commercials, right? That's why commercials are effective. You know, this what I need toothpaste. What kind should I get? Crest, Colgate, or Sensodyne, or Tums? Like, I don't know. Well, what makes them better? What makes them different? Well, I'll tell you. That's your social media. It's your network. Show me how you want me to see you. Make me aware that you exist. Actors who are afraid to I don't want to market myself. It feels thirsty. It feels slimy. It feels desperate. Well, maybe you're doing it in a desperate, thirsty way. Like, please book me. I didn't say that. But I have to know you exist.
As
Now
like
you
a
know.
marketer would say, make your offer, right? So
Yeah.
this is who I
Let
am.
me see.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also knowing what you are and who you are is very important. That the concept of typing, which I know you've talked about a little bit before too. We have a course on it that we just started specifically for that. And it's not a bad thing to know that. It actually, I think, really helps get you further faster. I don't know if you would agree with that, but yeah, cool.
I do. And, you know, I have in our Book More TV course, there's a great exercise we do with the students, and it's a lot of fun. But we all have a space. We all have a space to fit in. There's a need for every one of us, right? So you knowing you're the solution changes how you show up. And now I'm going to show you why I'm the solution. So that's your business. So doing things to make that clear. And then I would say the next thing for understanding about being in business is, you know, I've been quoting him all week, but Stephen Pressfield, he has a book called Turning Pro. It's not new. You can Google it. You can even type in PDF. It's everywhere. He used to give it away years ago. But pros show up no matter what, right? And so if you're in business, like, think about your favorite restaurant in your neighborhood. How you feel? Look, how would you feel if you got your mouth set to get some of that, you know, fried fish or, you know, veggie patty, and they have no hours. They open when they feel like it. You never know what to expect. Well, you like, forget, I'm gonna move on. So show up to your business, even if it's 1 hour a day, 30 minutes a day, or 3 hours, maybe just on a Saturday, and that's it. But making it in your calendar and saying, I'm showing up for me. I'm showing up for my career. And that can look like anything. It could be practicing self-tapes. It could be connecting. It could be reading with friends, doing research. It doesn't matter. But being intentional in saying that I'm going to show up for me instead of wait and hope. I was talking to some college students this morning at AMDA on a Zoom, and wait and hope is not a plan. It's not. And a lot of schools, there's no shade to colleges. I mean, you know, have great programs, but a lot of times it's this thing of your talent in the craft is enough. And I'm trying to tell you, it's part of it.
It's part, yeah.
It's part of the pie, you know?
Wow. Well, we're almost out of time because our time together always goes so fast.
I know.
So fast. But I want to, I just want to make sure I have the dates right because I want to put this out and shout this out for you. So you have your course, your 5-week course, Book More TV, is currently open and enrolling, but you are also having a special 3-day kind of like introduction little thing so people can get your vibe.
Yeah, and I'll shoot you the flyer. You guys can visit bookmorework.com or just go to my Instagram bio, and as soon as you click the link, you can find dates. So you can pick the date and time that works for you. But next week on the 13th, 15th, and 18th.
13th, 15th, and
18th. But if
18th.
if you go to Book More Work, everything is there. You get to pick what day and time you want to join, and I will be there live. Awesome. If you found this enjoyable, then you will love rocking with me for a whole hour because I figured some stuff out along the way, and my goal is to share it and keep you pumped up, light a fire up under your butt. You know, we don't have time for you to be complacent. If you say you want it, let's get it. Otherwise, stop saying you want it and stop lying. Stop lying to yourself and to me.
Yeah. And I would also really encourage everybody to go and look at, is it like bookmoretv.com? Is that like special too? Like the course thing? Great. Because she outlines, if you look at her website, she'll outline all the things you're going to learn. And it's like mind blowing the amount of things you're going to learn. Like mind blowing. And what's crazy is like, not only are you going to learn a ton of stuff, but I feel like if somebody's going to sign up for it, if they actually do the work you're asking them to do, I can only imagine the kind of results they're going to get.
In the first 2 weeks of our last group, people were booking feature films, getting callbacks, people were booking commercials. It's about implementation. You can take anybody's course, and if you don't implement, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't blame it on the course.
It's a little, right? I also feel like when people really start to invest in themselves in courses or reels or headshots or coaches or whatever, it's mostly implementation, but I feel like there's also, because you're now investing in yourself, there's an energy shift, and you're saying to God and the universe, I'm actually ready for this. I'm ready to put in the work. And then you're just going to be blessed by an abundance of stuff that's going to come your way. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. I was talking with a client right before I got on with you. We were talking about some script stuff, and she's coming from out of town to shoot with us. And I was like, so when are your dates again? She's like, well, actually, I was supposed to come out there for a workshop, but I just booked a feature. And I was like, what? You just booked a feature? And I'd love to take credit for that, but I can't because there is an energy shift. So if you are watching this and you are ready, with your career to really start investing in it in a new and interesting way, I think Christine is the girl for you. Like, I just really believe in you and your message and what you teach, and it's practical and mindset and craft all put together. Yeah. And it's like the perfect thing.
Yeah, so, I appreciate that. I love collaborating with you because you do amazing work too. I love that multicam scene you put up the other day.
Oh, that was a fun scene. Yeah. The teacher scene.
Yeah.
Multicam scenes are really fun. Oh, thanks, girl. We work really hard. I have a really great team that, we've put together, and our goal is to always advocate for people. And, we want to be a tool in their tool belt, and we want you coming to us only so long as you need us. We don't want you coming to us forever, because the goal is to get people working enough so that you don't have to pay for footage anymore, that you are actually booking real footage. Anyway. All right. So outside of Instagram, how else can people find you, work with you, connect with you?
Instagram is a great place. The link in my bio has ways to connect with me. Again, please, if you are an actor and you want to join a cool community, I know you need another Facebook group in your life, but if you want a good one, come to, no shade. But, I think everything I'm doing is the best, right? Hollywood Bound Actors. It really is a supportive community, and I do weekly interviews in there. Tonight, I'm interviewing actor Christopher Chen. And just always finding ways to pour into us, because isolation is a dream killer, and you got to remember that you need community, even if it's virtual. Just seeing yourself, having conversations, just a place, because a lot of times our families don't get it. Even though they support us and love us, they don't get it.
That's
so
awesome. Yeah.
So that's the main thing. You can find me. I'm easy to find, but
also
Instagram.
Well, we have like 25 seconds left. I would also encourage you to go check her out on YouTube, because your YouTube is banging. Yeah. It's awesome. Is that a link in your bio as well? Hundreds of videos. It's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, girl, for coming on. We're just going to run out the time.
Everybody.